Everyone to the CELPIP Speaking Part 3 Describing a Scene Analysis. Now I'm just here in the CELPIP library in the Speaking Part 3 section. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that Part 3 Speaking focuses more on CLB 4, 5, and 6. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get CLB 4, 5, or 6, then you need to do well in this part. This part will really test your knowledge for level 4, 5, and 6. And more so than parts 1, 6, or 7. Those parts are for higher levels. And that's because part 3, describing a scene, all you have to do is identify the picture. It'll be a common picture and provide some basic sentences. So for levels 4, 5, and 6, that shouldn't be so difficult, okay? Now, if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, then this part will be very simple for you to answer because you will have lots of knowledge, but also you need to develop stronger answers, okay? And also, for higher levels, this part is not as important as part 1, 6, or 7, which are more complex, okay? Also, I want to remind you about this tips and strategies video. This video will give you more information about how to read the question, what to focus on, and some of the tips and strategies that I will be following in this analysis. Okay? So then, let's look at today's volume sample. Volume 1, a hospital. And this will be a CLB 7-9 example, okay? So here we are, part 3, describing a scene, preparation time 30 seconds, speaking time 1 minute. Okay, so everyone, as we know, actually, this part should be very easy for higher levels, 7 and 8 and 9. Answering the question will be very easy, but getting 9 or higher, that'll be the hard part. Because to do that, well, we need to, one way to do it for sure will be to be more descriptive about the picture. Try to use higher level vocabulary. What will that be? And try to use higher level grammar. What could we do for that? I'm going to try to illustrate that in this picture by trying to compare what lower levels would say and what higher levels would say. Okay? So that's going to be one thing that we're going to be trying to do. So we're for sure going to be answering the question clearly and directly and organizing very well. Okay, that won't be that hard. But again, trying to give stronger ideas using stronger grammar, that's going to be the key for getting higher levels. Okay, so then let's start by introducing the question, where is it taking place? Okay, and what we see. So, okay, this picture is taking place at the ward of a hospital. There are some patients, doctors, nurses, orderlies, and other hospital staff doing different activities at the moment. Okay, great. Great start. So you see, just putting here the ward, at the ward of a hospital, some ward, that's already higher level. Lower levels, they might just say hospital. Okay, so there's one example. Also, lower levels will say there are some doctors and patients or just people. But higher levels, we'll say right away all the kinds of people that we can see. Patients, doctors, nurses, orderlies, and other hospital staff. That would be a really good way already for us to get a higher level, okay? So that's what I mean by more vocabulary, not lower levels, maybe even 7 to 8s. They wouldn't know orderlies, okay? Some of the hospital staff here, they're called orderlies. They're like nursing assistants, okay? We can say nursing assistants here. I don't see it here. Okay. So very good start. Okay, everyone, don't forget that I'm going to be using color coordination. Blue will be my structure organization. Okay, and red will be my main grammar form. I don't have it here yet, but black will be all other parts of the sentence. So let's get started now with the front of the picture. We want to organize, okay? So in the front, well, here it says front, but I would like to say foreground. That will be stronger. So in the foreground on the left, one male orderly is asking the female doctor where he could put the sanitation supplies, while the doctor's telling him that he should drop them off in some hospital rooms. Great. So in the foreground, right over here. So you can see here that something basic, just maybe that lower levels would maybe say the man is talking to the doctor. Okay? Or even a little bit, maybe the nursing assistant is asking the doctor a question about what he should do or can do. That's also a little bit higher, but look at our sentence here. Is asking the female doctor, male orderly, female doctor, where he could put the sanitation supplies. The doctor's telling him he should drop them off in some hospital. So all that already we're using higher level expression. That's something that we need to do. Lower levels won't use could put, or should drop. They'll say more basic ideas, just present continuous. But higher levels, we need to express those ideas in a higher way, okay? And that's what we've done here. That's what we've done by using modals. All right, very good. So that one was very short, or even other students who maybe think about the x-rays, the clipboard here. We need to try to find vocabulary, as much vocabulary as we can to express ideas. I didn't put clipboard or x-rays here. Okay. Let's get to the center of the picture. Okay. We have more there. Okay, so let's start with in the center on the right, we can see a nursing assistant dropping off some bed linen to the hospital bed. Okay, over here, so he's taking some bed linen to that hospital bed. Okay, very good. It looks like he's very tired because he's yawning. Okay, so it looks like. That's something else that higher levels can do. It looks like. When we say it looks like, we're adding an extra idea to that, and that's very good. So it looks like he's very tired. You see here, because he's yawning. So you see, even some 7 to 8s might not know that word, yawning. Okay, but 9s or higher, we should know. Okay, very good. So what's next? Behind him, there's a young man sitting on a wheelchair and a nurse helping an elderly woman walk with her walker. Okay, so you see the man sitting on a wheelchair, the nurse helping an elderly woman. Okay, again, more vocabulary. Again, more vocabulary use. Very good. Walker, wheelchair. I think this could be the first time the elderly woman's using a walker. Okay, so we added another idea. I think it could be. Okay, very good. So again, we've expressed a lot there. We use modals also. Okay, so we're doing a lot. We're using a lot of ideas here. And this is only for the center. Now, on the left, we can see a physician examining an arm x-ray. It seems like he's trying to diagnose whether there could be a fracture. Again, very strong. Very strong idea over here on the left. So a physician's examining the arm. Maybe he's trying to diagnose whether there's a fracture. So very strong expression again, everyone. Again, trying to say what we think it is. It seems like it could be. Okay. So very good. Very good. That's for the center. Lots and lots of words and vocabulary. Okay. Using again modals is very strong. Okay. And you trying to express another idea. It seems like. Very good. So now let's get to the background over there. Okay. So I'm going to say background here. Background. It would be better. Here I wanted to say foreground over here. So foreground, the front. Background, the back. Again, that's stronger. That's why I'm using that one. In the background, we can see a female orderly pushing a delivery cart. It looks like she's dropping off some of the flowers visitors left for the patients. Very good. Over here, right? Over here. Again, saying it looks like, we're trying to just imagine what she's doing. Okay. So then, everyone, we said a lot. We said a lot. Okay. And this will be an example. Again, what I tried to say earlier was, how can we get into the 9s or higher with this part? Because it's so easy. Well, this is how. This is how. By being more descriptive. The more descriptive that you can be, the higher your score. And saying something more than the general ideas, like here, it looks like he's very tired because he's yawning. That's stronger. By saying more vocabulary, patients, doctors, nurses, orderlies, the hospital ward, okay, walker, trying to diagnose a fracture, all these expressions are stronger. The more descriptive, the stronger your vocabulary, the higher your score. This is an example of 9 plus for those reasons. And of course, what about speaking it? That is going to be a challenge as well. 7 to 8s, we're not going to be so descriptive. And we're not going to provide some of, I'm not, even 7s or 8s, they might not know yawning or walker. Yes. Or trying to diagnose a fracture. 7 to 8s, we might not know that. And we might not be so descriptive and say this answer in 1 minute. You could with practice, okay? But level 9s or higher, we need to be able to speak this in 1 minute with very good flow and intonation for this level. Flow slowly and continuously and clearly. Okay, intonation clearly and stressing the sentences in the correct places according to how we're speaking. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking this answer now in 1 minute, and you should follow along and focus on my flow and intonation. Okay. This picture is taking place at the ward of a hospital. There are some patients, doctors, nurses, orderlies, and other hospital staff doing different activities at the moment. In the foreground on the left, one male orderly is asking the female doctor where he could put the sanitation supplies, while the doctor is telling him that he should drop them off in some hospital rooms. In the center on the right, we can see a nursing assistant dropping some bed linen to the hospital bed. It looks like he's very tired because he's yawning. Behind him, there's a young man sitting on a wheelchair and a nurse helping an elderly woman walk with her walker. I think this could be the first time the elderly woman's using a walker. On the left, we can see a physician examining an arm x-ray. It seems like he's trying to diagnose whether there could be a fracture. In the background, we can see a female orderly pushing a delivery cart. It looks like she's dropping some of the flowers visitors left for the patients. Okay, well, you see, I used the full minute. I wasn't trying to speed read. That's not what we do. We need to speak this answer. Okay, slowly, clearly, and continuously, and stressing what needs to be stressed accordingly, okay? So, that's what we need to do to practice. We need to first practice by reading and understanding. Reading and understanding how we organize the answer, okay? The connectors we used according to behind him on the left, it seems like in the background, okay? And then we need to read and understand the ideas and how we express them by using present continuous, using modals, okay? And using it looks like, it seems like. We need to read and understand that, okay? Then after that, everyone, we need to read and speak the answer in 1 minute, like I did, to practice flow and intonation, okay? The more that we read and speak this answer in 1 minute, the more that we will improve our flow and intonation, okay? So then, everyone, can you speak that answer in 1 minute without reading it? Can you do that? Well, the more that you read and speak it, the more that you'll be able to speak it in 1 minute without reading. Can you do that? That's the challenge. Level 9s, after a few times reading it, you can, because you will be able to keep the knowledge. Now, everyone, we want to keep knowledge, not memorize, okay? That's what we want to do. And the more that we read and speak it, the more that we can speak it without reading, okay? So for that, everyone, I'll be leaving a link in the description box to this question so you can practice speaking the answer. Oh, that was the 5, 6. Okay. Okay, so you can practice speaking that answer, okay? Also, everyone, I want to remind you about the CELPIP library. Now, CELPIP library includes over 60 examples of speaking part 3. Okay, so it'll be a very good way for you to prepare for this section of the exam. So you should definitely subscribe to CELPIP library. And now with discount code CELPIP79, again, that is discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription of CELPIP library for only $10.99. Okay, that's great, and I strongly recommend it. All right, everyone, let's not forget, practice makes perfect.